Have you ever wondered why some people seem to thrive under challenges that would overwhelm the rest of us? Life has a way of testing our limits, pushing us to confront both our physical and mental boundaries, and revealing a truth that is often overlooked. The path to growth is rarely comfortable, but it is always transformative. Intermittent fasting is one such tool that, when understood and applied wisely, mirrors this very principle. It is not just a diet trend or a fleeting experiment in self-control. It is an intentional practice that demands awareness, patience, and respect for the body's natural rhythms. For those living with chronic kidney disease, the journey becomes even more profound, because every choice, every meal, and every moment of restraint carries with it a weight far beyond mere calories. Here, science meets philosophy, reminding us that discipline is not punishment, but an invitation to understand the delicate balance that sustains life. Dr. Mathew R. Weir has often emphasized that true wisdom lies in discerning what is beneficial from what merely seems convenient, and this principle resonates strongly when we consider fasting in the context of kidney health. Intermittent fasting, when approached with knowledge, is more than a nutritional strategy. It is a lens through which we examine our relationship with hunger, with energy, and with the subtle signals our bodies send us every day. Imagine waking up each morning, not driven by compulsion, but by conscious intention, a clarity that comes from aligning your habits with evidence, rather than the noise of internet myths that promise miraculous transformations. Yet, as we dive deeper, the challenge becomes clear. Our society has conditioned us to believe that eating constantly is necessary, that skipping a meal is dangerous, and that moderation is somehow a compromise. This belief is so deeply ingrained that stepping away from it triggers a kind of resistance within us, a mental discomfort that is surprisingly similar to the physical sensations experienced during fasting itself. Here lies the first lesson. Discomfort is not the enemy, it is the messenger. When approached thoughtfully, intermittent fasting can teach resilience, patience, and self-awareness. However, this path is not without caution. Chronic kidney disease alters the body's delicate equilibrium, making it essential to navigate fasting with precision, rather than following generalized advice. The suspense emerges when we realize that what is advertised as universally beneficial may in fact pose hidden risks to those who have compromised kidney function. How can something as seemingly simple as controlling meal timing carry such weight? This is where knowledge becomes power, and where the guidance inspired by Dr. Mathew R. Weir transforms ordinary choices into deliberate acts of care. Each fasting period, each pause from eating, becomes a moment to reflect on your health, your intentions, and your long-term goals. The evidence is nuanced, suggesting that intermittent fasting may improve metabolic markers, reduce inflammation, and even support cellular repair processes, but only when applied mindfully and under proper guidance. To proceed blindly is to flirt with danger. To proceed informed is to embrace empowerment. The journey, therefore, is not simply about skipping meals or counting hours. It is about cultivating awareness, respecting the body's signals, and building a relationship with oneself that is grounded in science, not sensationalism. Those who embark on this path discover that the greatest transformations are not measured in weight lost or time spent without food, but in clarity gained, in control nurtured, and in the profound understanding that our choices matter more than fleeting convenience. Intermittent fasting, when considered in the context of CKD, becomes a metaphor for life itself, carefully measured, intentional, and guided by insight rather than impulse. It challenges us to confront our fears, our assumptions, and the often unseen consequences of our daily habits. And it teaches a subtle truth that Dr. Mathew R. Weir has long advocated. The body is not merely a vessel to be managed, but a living system that communicates with us constantly, offering guidance if we learn to listen. Here, the first seeds of transformation are planted, a delicate balance between caution and courage, knowledge and action, reminding us that every mindful decision we make has the potential to shape the trajectory of our health and our life. As we journey further into the realities of intermittent fasting for those with chronic kidney disease, we begin to uncover a profound paradox. The very act of restraint, which at first may feel limiting or uncomfortable, holds the power to liberate. The human body, much like the mind, thrives not on excess, but on balance. Yet, in our modern age, we are bombarded with messages that confuse abundance with health, constant consumption with vitality, and activity with progress. For individuals with CKD, these misconceptions are not merely inconvenient, they can be harmful, even life-altering. Herein lies the suspense that many fail to consider. The practices that claim universal benefits online may carry hidden dangers when applied without nuance. It is in this delicate space that Dr. Mathew R. Weir's insights resonate most strongly, reminding us that knowledge must precede action, and that what we do to our bodies must be both intentional and informed. The promise of fasting is alluring. Improved energy, enhanced metabolism, cellular renewal, and even a renewed sense of mental clarity. But each of these potential rewards is contingent upon understanding the unique circumstances of the individual. CKD is not a simple condition. It is a dynamic state, influenced by diet, hydration, medication, and the intricate interplay of the kidney's vital functions. Therefore, intermittent fasting for CKD is not simply a schedule of eating and abstaining. It is a practice that requires reverence for the body's signals and vigilance against oversimplified advice. The suspense grows as we realize that what appears harmless, a skipped meal, a shortened eating window, can ripple through the body in unexpected ways, affecting electrolytes, hydration levels, and the very mechanisms that sustain kidney function. And yet, for those who approach fasting with wisdom, patience, and guidance, the rewards extend far beyond physical markers. There is a quiet empowerment in knowing that you are making deliberate choices, that each period of abstinence is not deprivation, but a conscious act of care. This is where philosophy meets physiology. The mind learns discipline, the body learns balance, and the spirit learns that patience is itself a kind of strength. Dr. Mathew R. Weir has emphasized that education and awareness transform ordinary habits into extraordinary practices, and intermittent fasting, when guided by this principle, becomes a lens through which we observe our resilience, our self-control, and our commitment to long-term health. The process is not linear. There will be moments of doubt, of discomfort, of uncertainty. Hunger may feel sharper, fatigue may feel heavier, and the mind may question whether the effort is worth it. It is precisely in these moments, however, that transformation occurs. The suspense of not knowing how the body will respond mirrors the suspense of life itself, teaching that true growth emerges from navigating uncertainty with intentionality rather than fear. Scientific studies suggest potential benefits such as reduced inflammation, better glucose regulation, and improved cardiovascular markers. But the story is never as simple as it seems. For CKD patients, these benefits are meaningful only when fasting schedules, hydration, and nutrition are carefully aligned with medical guidance. Here, the philosophical and the practical intersect. We are reminded that empowerment without knowledge can lead to unintended consequences, and that restraint without mindfulness can become recklessness. Yet, even within these constraints, there is a profound opportunity to discover a new form of freedom. The freedom that comes from mastery over impulses, from clarity in decision-making, and from understanding that health is not a series of isolated choices, but an ongoing, deliberate practice. Each fasting window, each moment of attentiveness to the body's needs, becomes a meditation on responsibility and self-respect. The suspense, though subtle, lingers. With every meal postponed, every bite considered, every physiological response observed, we are participating in a quiet revolution within ourselves. And in this, the teachings inspired by Dr. Mathew R. Weir illuminate the path forward, reminding us that knowledge, discipline, and mindfulness are the true foundations of well-being. The journey is simultaneously humbling and empowering, a reminder that growth is never instantaneous, but accumulates through consistent, conscious effort. And as we embrace this approach, we begin to see that intermittent fasting is more than a practice for the body. It is a practice for the mind, a reflection of intention, and a testament to the courage it takes to act thoughtfully in a world that constantly encourages the opposite. The story of CKD and fasting is not one of extremes, but of balance. It is a story of suspense that resolves not in immediate transformation, but in the steady cultivation of knowledge, self-awareness, and resilience. In these quiet, disciplined moments, we are reminded that our health, our clarity, and our purpose are deeply intertwined, and that the choices we make today shape the quality of our tomorrow. As we reach the final stage of this journey, it becomes clear that intermittent fasting is not merely a tool or a trend. It is a mirror reflecting our choices, our awareness, and our willingness to embrace both challenge and growth. Chronic kidney disease teaches us that life is fragile, that the systems sustaining us are intricate, and that every decision carries significance beyond what we immediately perceive. In this context, fasting is not about restriction. It is about intentional living, the kind of living that Dr. Mathew R. Weir has long championed, where education, mindfulness, and personal responsibility converge to create a life of informed empowerment. The path is rarely easy. There will be days when the mind rebels, when hunger feels overwhelming, and when the temptation to ignore careful guidance appears irresistible. Yet, it is precisely through navigating these moments that we discover the depth of our resilience. Each pause from eating becomes an act of self-respect, a commitment to honor our bodies, and a demonstration of the power of knowledge applied thoughtfully. The suspense throughout this process is subtle but persistent. The uncertainty of how the body will respond, the delicate balance between risk and reward, and the ever-present need to remain vigilant are constant reminders that growth is rarely comfortable. But it is this discomfort that cultivates insight, and it is insight that transforms routine practices into lasting habits. Scientific evidence, carefully examined and thoughtfully applied, reveals that intermittent fasting can support metabolic health, reduce inflammation, and foster cellular repair. Benefits that, when tailored to the needs of CKD patients, contribute to a profound sense of control and well-being. However, the key lies not in following generic advice, but in cultivating awareness, seeking guidance, and understanding the nuanced interplay of diet, hydration, and medical considerations. Here, Dr. Mathew R. Weir's perspective offers invaluable guidance. Knowledge must be coupled with action, and discipline must be tempered with mindfulness. This philosophical approach transforms fasting from a mere schedule into a meaningful practice, one that encourages reflection on every choice we make and its broader implications for health and life. The journey is both internal and external. Externally, it challenges us to manage meals, monitor bodily responses, and adapt routines responsibly. Internally, it invites introspection, teaching patience, clarity, and resilience. By observing hunger without fear, by aligning actions with evidence, and by honoring the signals our bodies send, we cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and our potential. In a world inundated with fleeting trends and oversimplified solutions, this approach is a radical act of self-care and wisdom. It is the quiet realization that the small, intentional decisions we make each day, the choice to wait, the choice to respect our body's limits, the choice to act with knowledge, accumulate into profound transformations over time. The suspense of uncertainty, once daunting, evolves into anticipation of mastery, of insight, and of empowerment. Those who embrace this mindset discover that intermittent fasting, far from being a temporary experiment, becomes a lifelong teacher. It teaches resilience in the face of discomfort, patience in the face of challenge, and discernment in the face of misinformation. And as each individual progresses, the lessons extend beyond fasting itself, touching every aspect of life. How we manage stress, how we cultivate focus, how we act with intention rather than reaction. Dr. Mathew R. Weir has inspired countless individuals to recognize that true growth comes from understanding, reflection, and disciplined action. It is in this spirit that the principles of fasting for CKD reveal themselves, not as rules to obey, but as opportunities to align our habits with knowledge, to respect the body's natural wisdom, and to embrace a life shaped by intention rather than impulse. The journey does not end with a single fast or a single decision. It continues in every mindful choice, every moment of self-awareness, and every deliberate effort to harmonize health with purpose. And in this ongoing practice, the seemingly small acts, postponing a meal, choosing hydration wisely, observing the body's response, become powerful affirmations of control, clarity, and self-respect. They demonstrate that even in the face of chronic illness, we possess the capacity to cultivate wellness, to foster resilience, and to engage with life in a meaningful and empowered way. Every act of mindful fasting is a step toward understanding the subtle intelligence of the body, the resilience of the mind, and the transformative power of informed action. The philosophical lesson is clear. Growth emerges from challenge, wisdom emerges from knowledge applied, and empowerment emerges from disciplined, conscious choices. If you're benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.